Good morning and welcome to the Talk of the Town. My guest this morning is Dr. Nisha Arunatilake, Director of Research at the Institute of Policy Studies. Good morning, Dr. Nisha. One of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 8 to be exact, says that by 2030 we must achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all women and men. Now, decent work must encompass dignity, equality, fair wages, safe working conditions, among other things. Can you put this into context in the Sri Lankan setting?
So in Sri Lanka, only about 1/3 of women who are in the working age are in employment. When you look at even the women who are in employment, not all of them are even earning a wage employment. So a lot of them are working in as self-employed or working for their families. So they are not considered as decent work. And if you go a little deeper and just try to see what are the women who are earning at least a minimum wage and within say 8 hours of the legislation number of maximum hours, that is less than 10%. So less than 10% of women have access to some form of decent work.
What are the barriers to women's participation in decent work in Sri Lanka?
So the barriers are multifaceted. So one main thing is our culture dictates that women have to play a bigger role in looking after the children, providing for the family. So that is one main barrier. So which affects the supply. That's why only 1/3 of women are in employment. But even women who do enter the labor market, they tend to resort to doing work that is flexible, is not very doesn't take a lot of responsibility, because again they are thinking about their other responsibilities. So if we want to provide women with an environment to allow them to access better jobs, then you need to help them to balance their work life and their home life. So by providing affordable daycare and providing safe, reliable transport, so they don't spend a lot of time going back and forth to employment, and also providing a equal and safe workplace.
Women are nowhere to be found in decision-making spaces, which limits women's input in policy formulation.
Correct.
Largely.
Yes, correct. So if you look at our parliament, we have very few women parliamentarians. So one reason why these policies which are female friendly don't get passed through, I mean nothing against the male parliamentarians, but they just don't see things the way a woman parliamentarian would see. Because they haven't encountered the problems of a woman. So I think we are always talking about representative decision making bodies. I mean, one half of the population is female, so we really need to have more females making decisions.
Let's also talk a bit about the role that legislation has to play in creating an inclusive labor market for women, and not just having laws, but the enforcement and implementation of laws as well.
Correct. So no point having laws unless they are not implemented, and also if they are not, if workers can't make use of the laws to improve their conditions. So for example, if you take sexual harassment in Sri Lanka, there is actually no labor law in Sri Lanka against sexual harassment. There is a law outside of the labor laws, but it's a criminal offense. So to take redress, you need to go to a police station, do a lot of things which a person, a normal, say, low-skilled worker are not able to do. So, the system has to facilitate that.
But then there are HR practices, right?
So some companies actually have some kind of grievance handling mechanisms, but in a lot of the places, it's not the case.
It's not structured.
Yeah, it's not structured.
Okay. Dr. Nisha, let's finally talk about the importance of awareness building to reduce social biases. Usually, we're fed this trope of how women who work then come home, do the dishes, cook the food, do the children's homework. We romanticize this notion of a hustling mother as a superwoman, as a power woman, without recognizing that this very dynamic is completely messed up.
Correct. So even if you look at our textbooks, you will find the mother in the kitchen cooking something and the father with the briefcase going to work. So that is not the reality now, because the mothers are also going to work, and the little girls and even boys from kindergarten, they need to see that the gender roles are different now, that you have both parents going to work and they need to share household work, so that the women are not overburdened by all these responsibilities that they have.
All right. Finally, what's the way forward to ensure women's access to decent work in Sri Lanka?
So one thing is, I think the economy needs to create good jobs, decent jobs that women can access, and which provides good wages, good working conditions. So in order to do that, already in the economy there are a few jobs like that, but a lot of our workers can't access that because they don't have the education. So almost 60% of the workers in the country don't even have O levels. So you need to really improve access to education, and also you need to have a level playing field for males and females in the workplace, and facilitate going to work for women by providing childcare facilities, transport, and all of that. So it's actually a lot of different things needs to happen.
All right. Thank you so much for your perspectives, Dr. Nisha Arunatilake, Director of Research, Institute of Policy Studies. Thank you, and it's back to the studio.